What's going on? It's your boy Bowie here. And this video is a special request. So one of the beautiful things about being a YouTuber is that you never quite know exactly who your audience is and whose life you're impacting. And it turns out that somebody that's been watching my channel and watching my videos is a person that goes by the name of Cherny Volk. And I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, but I believe that's how it's pronounced. Cherny's been a part of the Mortal Kombat community for a long time. I've heard of him at least since the MK1 days, and I've been around since MK9. I just didn't have a YouTube platform like that at that time, but I got some MK9 footage and shit. But point of the matter is, me doing these videos apparently has made a fan out of Cherny, and he actually reached out to me. He said he'd like to get my perspective on some gameplay ideas that he had, and I said, hell yeah, I'll definitely respond and shit, you know what I'm saying, and give my honest thoughts about it. And I'm gonna do that here today. Now, I might be critical, I might be in agreement, but one thing I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna disrespect nobody, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to say anything wild or anything disrespectful or anything combative or anything of that nature. That's not what I do. All I do is I try to give my objective opinion, or try to be as objective and fair as possible, you know what I'm saying? And so if I agree, I'll tell you why I agree. If I disagree, I'll tell you why I disagree, and we can have a civil discussion about it and stuff like that. So without any further ado, I'll go ahead and play the video, and I'll pause. I may skip around because I don't want this video to be like an hour long. You dig what I'm saying? Because I'm already talking mad long anyway.
Hey guys, what's going on? Cherny Volk here, and we're gonna do.
Also, his video audio's kind of low. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this back and turn this up a little bit.
I don't want to leave people with the impression that I had no criticisms of the game, and I don't think the game needs help, because I do agree that it does. And just choosing not to be negative about it. But I did want to make a video just for discussion's sake, but also to encourage positive, constructive criticism about the game.
First and foremost, let me stop right there. Bruh, mad respect to you for that right there, because we've all seen it. We've all seen tons of videos talking negatively and criticizing Mortal Kombat 1, and though many of the criticisms are valid and many others come from a valid place, a lot of them are just overwhelmingly negative. And if you had never played the game, you would get the impression that the game does nothing well, like the game has nothing to offer people, and that's just not true. The game is super fun. The competitive viability of the characters is extremely high. There isn't a character in the game that can't compete at the highest level. Now, the lower characters are definitely going to have to work harder, but as far as I know, every character in Mortal Kombat 1 has achieved a top 8 in some tournament. The only one I can't think of that I've seen or heard of is Li Mei, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. So that should tell you something right there. That's never occurred in MK11, MKX, or MK9. You dig what I'm saying? So shout out to Cherny for encouraging positive discussion. I'm going to try to skip around a little bit if you don't mind, because I want to get to these gameplay changes. Let me see here.
And I've decided on 5 things.
Alright.
Actually, we'll just call this the intro, because I'm going to splice this up. I'm going to timestamp this video when this game is reworked. I think it's definitely a net positive for the game.
Yeah, flawless block is good.
It is a little too good in some respects in ways that have really kind of choked viable playstyles. Like one thing in NRS games that's always been a thing since time immemorial is the idea of the chip-based character. I played one of these with Black Manta and Justice 2. Awesome Man, obviously
Sorry.
character that works like this.
Good.
There were characters from MK1 that were big on doing this. So I like it in general that you can use flawless blocks to negate chip, and it helps you feel less frauded out. But
Yeah.
I think now we
My
need
shit
to
loud as a bitch. Damn it.
accept that they need to go through cameo and character kits, and they need to make moves that either only have reduced chip on flawless block, or you just make it so they can't be flawless block, period.
Okay, so I don't know how the audio's gonna sound right now, and as a matter of fact, I might pause at a certain point and increase this audio because this lawnmower person is going all the way off over here. But anyway, so in case you don't know, Cherny Volk is suggesting that certain special moves should either, because what happens is currently when you flawless block, chip is just totally negated. You know what I'm saying? So when you flawless block, it doesn't matter if it's a string, a special, whatever, chip damage is completely turned off. What Cherny is suggesting is that there should be some special moves that do not abide by this rule. In other words, when you flawless block them, they do reduced chip rather than no chip, or they just don't even have any reduced chip at all. I like that change. I'm not mad at that change. You know what I'm saying? I think it would be very, very dope because I know for one, in Mortal Kombat 11, I would use Scorpion, and I didn't use the one with the cancels. Oh my god, this motherfucker coming back here with this goddamn lawnmower. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me pause this shit and come back, man. I'll be back, man. My bad, I'm back. So anyway, yeah, that's a great change, I think, because I was saying that in MK11 I used to use Scorpion, and I used the one that didn't have the teleport cancel. I used I forget the name of it now, but I had the flame buff and the chain. You know what I'm saying? That was the one I picked because of the extremely high damage that he used to get, and I was chipping the shit out of people. You know, if I had got somebody down to within 10% of health, I would chip the shit out of them. I would make sure that buff was on, and I would do a string, cancel it into the death spin thing, and I knew they were dead. You know what I'm saying? And that was a viable strategy that, made that character unique in comparison to Sub-Zero or someone like that. And so having character specials that are designed to chip people and to avoid characters countering the chip mechanic or the anti-chip mechanic would be great. Now, of course, they'd have to be very careful about which characters and moves get this property and which ones don't, but I like that change. I think it's good. Let's keep going.
Period. Or nullified by it. So like again,
all right, I'm going to skip ahead.
The common thing in this game, right? But she has this.
So he gives more examples here.
Think that this is a thing that should be looked at. Like if you did just why suggested Scorpion, for example, it would.
Hold on.
That are made minus by flawless blocking.
Mm-hmm.
In how chip in your block string.
Oh, here we go.
Punish somebody on block like this game. Improve the game.
All right, here we go.
You can pretty reliably flawless block them. So, maybe they should still let those do a little bit of chip damage even if flawless block. That's my first criticism about the game. That's the thing that I think would improve the game dramatically.
Okay.
Okay. So this next thing is something that seems to be controversial with some people that like this game, but I think it is paramount if we want this game to feel like more competitively viable, and that is we need to make it so that if you punish somebody on block for doing something, that I can't get hit by an ambush. I think if
Hold on. All right. First and foremost, no. I'm sorry, Cherny, but I can't agree with that. Stephanie said it best. She said that the cameo system allows players to break rules of the game. You know, one of the general rules is if somebody does something unsafe on block, you punish that ass. That's why you do it, right? But the cameos are designed to allow you to take rules like that and bend them and break them. You know what I'm saying? That's literally how it's designed. And making that particular change would hurt a lot more characters than it helps. It really, really would. I mean, think about what happened when Cyrax got nerfed. When Cyrax got nerfed, yes, it somewhat affected the top tiers, but it didn't really affect them, though. You know, the top tiers were Kenshi, Raiden, Cage, and a few other suspects. Are they still top tier in this game? Yes, they are. Who really got hurt by this? Scorpion, Rain, Baraka. You know what I'm saying? Like, so by making the change that they made to Cyrax, yes, it hurt some of the top tiers, but it only hurt the worst characters more. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not in the business of taking characters that are already disadvantaged and hurting them more. No. I'm going to have to disagree here.
You are not tight in your block string. Like, if you're going to do something punishable, it needs to be a committal thing. It needs to not be a reaction. I think they need to make it so that if you summon an ambush and you get hit, period, I think the ambush should disappear, and then I think the cameo should just go on full cooldown, full stop.
Nah, I disagree with that. I'm going to have to disagree with that one. That would work for certain cameos, certain ambush attacks, like the more powerful ones. I can see that being a thing. Maybe. And I say maybe. But I'm going to have to disagree with that because, again, that's the design of the game. Also, you know, I watched a little bit of this before I started recording. And I think he said something to the effect of a lot of people don't like a particular thing. Hold on a second. Let me get to that part real quick.
That would do so much for things people don't like in this game, like Raiden with Storm Cell.
People don't like.
If he had to worry about he wouldn't be able to do Superman into knife toss from like full screen because he would hit him and the knife would go away, you would still get your punish. That would force him to have to do more committal things like knife toss first and then Superman.
I understand that, but again, that's not the way to go about it. I mean, for one, Raiden's Superman is pretty much already safe anyway if you do it from full screen. I don't know what's up with that move. That move should be -1 billion on block, and Raiden should be right next to you. That way you ain't got to dash to punish him because that shit is trash right there. But if the Raiden has the damn Kano, you know what I'm saying? Doing a Superman into knives, that's a thing. It's a thing. Obviously, Raiden's Storm Cell. That is aggravating. That is annoying. But now we're getting a cameo that can help nullify that. And I think that cameo mechanic is probably going to wind up being a system mechanic before long. In case you don't know, Movado has a push block thing that apparently he can do. So if you flawless block a string or something, Movado can just, yeet people the fuck up off of you. You know what I'm saying? And that's good. I think that's something that's going to be implemented across the game before long, though. You know what I'm saying? That would help nullify the Storm Cell thing quite a bit. There's other ways to deal with Storm Cell that they can do that doesn't involve taking things away from everybody. Because that particular change is not just going to affect the examples you're thinking of. It's going to affect other characters as well, and the effects are not going to be pretty. Also, and this is the big point that I wanted to make, buffing and nerfing things based on people's likes and dislikes is a terrible idea. Horrible, 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 horrible. And I'll tell you why. This is a big ass community. There's a whole variety of players throughout this community. For some of them, they just now got online. And MK1 was their first online game. It is their first online game. Some people have been around since MK11. Some been around since MKX. Some been around since MK9. Some people's first online game was MK versus DC. You know what I'm saying? Some people were online before that. You know what I'm saying? So we've got people across all different age groups and experience groups in this community. And they all like different shit and dislike different shit. Obviously, we have people that can't stand zoning. They hate zoning. They call it spam. They think you're a trash player if you play keep away and throw projectiles, not realizing that there's a whole goddamn archetype of fighting character that is based off of that. Some people don't like when you play patient, when you aren't aggressive enough. I've gotten complaints from people being like, oh, this all you do, you play like a bitch. Because I'm not doing stupid shit at them and giving them an opportunity to kill me. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we got people that can't stand being pressured to death, like all the people that hated fighting Johnny Cage. There's something, if there's a thing in this game or in any game, there's going to be thousands of people that can't stand it and think it should go. And if NRS listens to all of those people that don't like a thing and then they nerf it because of that, we ain't gonna have shit. We ain't gonna have a goddamn thing. So, no, that's not the approach. The approach is the approach should be is that if a move does not have counterplay, does not have consistent or viable counterplay, and it has insane reward for the lack of counterplay, then and only then should it be subject to a nerf. Then and only motherfucking then. You dig what I'm saying? At least that's the criteria I feel. You know what I'm saying? If we're nerfing things based on people's annoyance factor with it or its commonness factor, those are dubious and specious because people's experiences vary. People's likes and dislikes vary. And so the idea that we need to be changing things to suit people's tastes, personal tastes, first and foremost, not only is that impossible and not going to happen, is not going to lead to a better product. We've tried that with MK11 and we all saw how that turned out. So hell nah. Now this next part, I don't know what he gonna say. I don't know what the fuck he gonna say.
Right, I mean,
hold on.
to be usable,
Yes.
I want this to be a thing that is usable and worth.
I agree with that. Yeah. This down to launch mechanic that they advertised to us, I've never seen somebody do it for real on purpose because it's too fucking expensive. It's too expensive. 2 bars. And the scaling is crazy. For all of that, I'll do a regular anti-air and get way more damage with a character like General Shao or Johnny Cage, right? Or I'll up block and get a full grounded combo that does more damage too. Hell no. This mechanic definitely needs to be adjusted. Let's hear what Cherny got to say.
Doing. The thing is, this just isn't worth doing.
Hell no.
Right? I mean, you have anti-air jabs do big damage. You have cameos that can do things like OS anti-air when you're blocking.
Yep.
This maneuver is just not worth doing.
It's not.
I think it costs too much, and I don't think it even does enough damage. So I'm going to be frank here.
I love when people say what I say.
Especially because it involves a limiting factor that forces you to jump, which means you have to do air combat. Here's my suggestion. So, because this forces you into air combat, first thing I would do with this mechanic is I think this should have no scaling.
Ooh.
So what would that look like?
Ooh.
So first of all, when you do this, so it should do 14% like usual. But then I think your air combat string that you do afterwards should be 100% unscaled. So what would that look like in this game? Well, for Smoke, he does 189 with 112 if it hits like this. So right now,
so
if I
300
do
something.
112, I only get 23%. This is applying something like a 70% scaling damage.
Yeah, it's wild as fuck.
Insane. I think this should be completely unscaled, so that would be 14% plus like 18%. So that'd be 32%.
32%.
That's first of all the kind of thing
Agreed.
that needs to be done in this game.
I agree with that. That's a great change. Because if you gonna make this shit expensive, motherfucker, I better get a lot for my money or my meter. You know what I'm saying? I completely agree. I love that change because, you know, people still like to jump, and sometimes your anti-air jabs don't work on these damn jumping kicks, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? You can always do flawless block. Up block, my bad. But I like this even more because now it's like, ooh, you just got hit with a 50. You know what I'm saying? You got hit with a 50 piece depending on who the character is. You talking about a 14% uppercut into unscaled damage in the air. And then some characters have air cameos and air specials that extend combos. Shit. That would be fire. You know what I'm saying? I like that change. I like that a lot. Okay, let's go forward.
Now, if you want to apply scaling, now this is good enough to be 2 bars.
It's not.
I definitely think that would help this game if this have universal back row damage. So both Smoke and Sub here are going to do 11%. Every character does 11% on their back throw.
Yeah.
I think this doesn't make any sense.
Why?
I think there are characters that clearly are intended to throw a lot more than others, and I think those characters should be rewarded more. That includes even my character, because my character has to do a lot of strike throw. I think they need to look into
I don't know about
giving
that.
characters different back throw damages.
Nah, I don't know about that. And I'll tell you why, because we already have that. The forward throw is that. The forward throw is that. Not to mention, of course, NRS could decide, oh, this character's intended to do this and they're intended to do that, but things have not always gone towards what they intended. Rain was, for example, was advertised as the game's premier zoning. That's not true. Rain does not have premier zoning. He doesn't even have half premier zoning. And, after looking at the Ermac combat cast, which was fire, by the way, Ermac looks ridiculous. Seeing the new moves that Rain got, them shits don't look like zoning tools to me. You know what I'm saying? So NRS's intentions don't always match up with reality. So I don't know about this idea of, hey, since this character was intended to do blah, let's give him or her a more damaging throw. I don't think so. That's not something that the game really needs. Like, we could go the whole rest of the game's life without that shit, and nobody would ever really even notice it, to be honest.
Now, game better. I know that there are people who don't like that idea, but this is an MK1, man. We're not dealing with the same problems in this game as we were back then. So I think it would be fine if you did that.
It's fine if you don't do it.
This is a quality of life feature for the game that I think would be better. So in Virtua Fighter has what they call lazy throw tech system. And all that means is that if you hold the throw tech while blocking, because Virtua Fighter also uses a guard button, it auto-techs the throw for you. So that would mean if I was holding R1 and I held 1, if they did a back throw, I would tech the throw, and then
automatically
throw, and I was holding 2. It would
That's interesting.
This is a quality of life thing. A lot of people just feel like it's too hard to react to throws in this game, like 50-50. So I think cutting people some slack and giving them an easy, lazy throw tech like DF would be a good thing for the game.
That's some sexy ass shit. I ain't gonna front you, boy. I like that idea. I actually like that quite a bit. See, I ain't got to this part of the video. But yeah. Hell yeah, I think that's dope. Of course, it's something you got to commit to now. And I also think if they do that shit, then there needs to be more of a penalty if the person guesses right. Like maybe they get double damage or some shit, or like 50% more damage if you were doing the lazy thing and they guessed correctly on your throw. I could fuck with that. Yeah, I think that'd be a great change. Hell yeah, I fuck with that.
So yeah, that's my take on that. All right. So here's my last thing.
Here we go. Last one.
Straight up ask for something that is straight up coming from another game.
Okay.
I really want counter hits and punishes to mean something in this game. So here's what I want.
Okay.
I want counter hits to do more damage. And I want punishes to do more damage.
Okay.
And I honestly would like it if we had games that emulated Street Fighter 6 in this regard. So,
let's think about that. I'm not mad at that idea. Yeah, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. It couldn't hurt the game, I don't think. Because a whiff punish would fuck somebody up, you know what I'm saying? Punishing a poke would really mess somebody up, you know what I'm saying? It would be a damage boost. Though I will say, one thing this game is not lacking in is damage. Like, motherfuckers get damage in this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, characters hurt, which is something I love. You know what I'm saying? So giving characters like Katana and Kenshi and, you know, big hitters like that the opportunity to get more damage, I don't know how much of a benefit that would be for characters like that. But maybe here we go, characters that maybe their damage is a little bit on the lower end, you know, characters like Tanya, characters like Sub, maybe they get a, you know, counter multiplier that's a little bit higher than somebody like Johnny Cage or someone like Kenshi. That could be cool. Of course, that would have to be subject to the ebb and flow of characters' placement on tier lists and tournament viability and all such shit as that. But other than that, that could be a very dope idea, to be honest. I think I can fuck with that. I think so.
Street Fighter 6 has 2 separate categories of damage bonuses. One for counter hitting, which is lesser, and then one for block punishment or full on whiff punishment.
Ooh, yeah.
Powerful. I really like this about Street Fighter.
Yeah, that's ill.
Where almost I think it should be the standard in 2D games.
Mm-hmm. I like that idea.
This game would benefit from it. Now,
I agree with that. Because here's the thing. One of the most underrated aspects about this goddamn game right here is that you can fucking play footsies for real. Like, it ain't like MK11 where, oh shit, you're playing good footsies, you know, 70% of the match against like a Jax player or a Noob or a Cetrion player or an Aaron Black, and then as soon as you get them down to 30%, now you scared to move. You can't do shit because soon as you decide to dash or do something, here comes their fatal blow. We don't have that problem now. So you can play footsies for the vast majority of the match, even with these wild ass cameos that can come out of nowhere and do things and shit like that. You know, you can still pretty much play good foots. There's a lot of good whiff punishing that I'm able to do. You know, you can really use your character's walk speeds and dash speeds and shit and really like tear people up for real. And so people should be rewarded for playing in that way. I'd also like something for anti-airs too, to be honest. I ain't mad at that idea too, to borrow from Cherny, you know what I'm saying? Let me see. This might be it.
I wouldn't make it too much.
Yeah, not too much.
I would make, let's see, how would I put it?
Let me see.
This would do a lot for discouraging the kind of maniac play that a lot of people kind of dislike this game promoting at the moment. And it would also make people more afraid to do stupid shit. I definitely think at least we need on punishes and counter hits more damage. It could be the same.
Oh, okay. So it's the same thing. Yeah, so I guess this is my reaction to Cherny Volk. Cherny Volk's 5 gameplay changes that MK1 needs. I pretty much agree with most of them. I don't agree with the ambush joint. For the reasons that I outlined. I don't much care for the changes to the back throw. You know, 11% is perfectly fine for a back throw, considering that characters get combos off of them. You know what I'm saying? Some characters can get combos off of, well, nobody gets combos off of forward throws as far as I know, but back throws give combos, and just about every character has one, almost. So, nah, we already have that situation in the game, but given all of those things, I mostly agreed with Cherny. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So I hope that you check this out, Cherny Volk. Let's continue the dialogue. One thing that I appreciate about Cherny Volk, and I didn't say this before, is that he ain't scared to just say whatever it is. You know, if he has a take on something, and it might be a hot take, it might be a wildly unpopular take, he's going to say it. You know what I'm saying? And that's something I respect deeply. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people like to go with narratives, not just in fighting games, but in life. People just go with narratives instead of like sitting back and observing things and really analyzing and letting the wheels turn a little bit before making their proclamations. And so I appreciate that Cherny Volk is just able to sit back and be like, you know what? I'm going to say this, and maybe no one's going to agree with me, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because Lord knows I have takes like that. Like, my hot take is Sub-Zero beats Johnny Cage in this game. I think he beats Cage. The match only becomes even or in Cage's favor when Cage has that hype. But otherwise, I think Cage loses to Sub-Zero. That's my hot take. But hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's me. And so I appreciate somebody else that's willing to step out and say what they got to say. You know what I mean? So yeah, Cherny, let's keep this dialogue going. I appreciate you watching. I hope you watched this video. And with that being said, to everyone else that's not Cherny Volk, I appreciate you guys for watching. By all means, reach out to me for ideas, thoughts, discussions, games, whatever it may be. You dig what I'm saying? But with that being said, peace.